In this video we're going to start looking at the kind of data we need for logic and decisions, which is of course essential for any program. All the programs we've seen so far just do one sequence of things. But the ones we're going to get to next make choices. They do one thing or another thing, or they repeatedly do something. And for that we need to be able to compare and check data and make these decisions. You'll come across this again in your modelling module, and it's related to a subject called Boolean algebra, named after George Boole, who was an Irish mathematician about a couple of hundred years ago. Okay, so we've got here a small program which declares two integer variables, a which is set to 2 and b which is set to 3. And down here we're printing out this slightly funny looking expression a equals b. Now, equals is the equality operator in Java. Basically, it says, is A equal to B, true or false? Now, of course, in this case, it's false because they are not the same value. Notice this is not the same as the equals operator, or the equals sign, because we use the equals sign in Java for the assignment, and as I said before, you tend to want to read that A becomes B. This is something completely different. This says take the value of B and overwrite the value of A with it, which would essentially make the new value of A equal to 3. But equals doesn't do that. It checks to see if things are equal. Well, let's run it and see. As you can see, it prints false because clearly A is not equal to B. If we change one of these values so that they are equal, and we compile it, then now it says true. As we'll see in a bit, the result of this operation is a whole class of data called the Booleans, after George Boole, and it can only have the values true and false. No other values are possible, unlike integers where it can be theoretically an infinite number of possibilities and strings and so on. There's only two values for Booleans, true and false. Similarly, there's a whole load of other operators we can use in here rather than equals. For example, we can have not equals, less than, greater than, and so on, and I'll show you some of those in a moment. First of all, I'm going to show you a nasty little thing that can happen. First of all, we're going to change this back to 2, and I'm going to take one of the equal signs out. Because people are so used to using the equal sign to check to see if something's equal rather than to assign a value, which is what we're doing here, it's a very, very common mistake to put only one equal sign in instead of 2. It will take you quite some time to get rid of the habit of doing this entirely. Now you might think, well, never mind, this is surely some kind of error, isn't it? Because we can't print out an assignment statement, but actually, unfortunately, we can. As you can see, it prints 3. It basically takes the view that, well, A was 2, and now you've written the value 3 in it, so the value of this is 3, and I'll print out 3. This is a hangover from some older programming languages where tricks like this were used to be clever. And we tend not to like these kind of clever tricks anymore because they can be hard to understand and it leads to a lot of mistakes. But unfortunately, there are some issues still arising from those, including that one. Okay, let's try some other operators. This is not equals. Okay, exclamation mark equals is not equals, and you might expect that A is not equal to B, and therefore that this should print true. And oops, you'd be correct, it does. Just going to clear the screen a minute. We have the less than operator. A is less than B. Well, it is, I hope. That's true, and similarly we've got the greater than operator. There's also a greater than or equals operator, which would be in this case false because A is not greater than or equal to B, but if we change these so that they are the same, if we make that 3, then A is greater than or equal to B. So this should now be true, which it is, but if I take the equal sign out, A is not greater than B, so this one should now be false, which it is. And there's also a less than operator and a less than or equal to operator, but I'm going to take the view you kind of understand what those are going to do, and therefore you've got the point with these. Now, on their own, these expressions, we would call them, checking equality or less than or greater than, are very useful, but we do want to be able to do more complicated things than that, and we're going to start that in the next video.